So they infect the upper respiratory tract. Okay, they infect the nose and the respiratory passage, but not the lungs. Okay, the common cold is characterized by nasal congestion. Okay, that means the blocking of a nasal passage. Okay, that is what we call a nasal congestion. And next, discharge. Okay, and a discharge, that means the fluids will be continuously discharging, and we'll find sore throat. Okay, and next, hoarseness, that means the voice will be changed. Okay, to hoarseness. Okay, some of the common diseases we can observe. Okay, that's some of the common symptoms that are observed in common cold is nasal congestion. There is the blocking of nasal passage, and next discharge, the fluids are discharging, and next we'll observe sore throat, and next a hoarseness, that means the voice will be changed to hoarseness, and next we'll observe cough, headache, and tiredness. Okay, etc., which usually last for about 3 to 7 days. So okay, for this there is no special treatment. Okay, it will be naturally cured. Okay, within 3 to 7 days. Okay, the symptoms will be conceded or subsided, and it becomes normal. And next, the droplets resulting from cough or sneezes of an infected person are either inhaled directly or transmitted through contaminated pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer keyboard or mouse, etc., and cause infection in a healthy person. Okay, how the transmission is done means the transmission, as this virus is airborne, that means it is entered into our body through air. So whenever any infected person speaks or sneezes or coughs, okay, the droplets will be released into the air, and if that air is inhaled by a healthy person, okay, the healthy person also gets the infection. And not only through air, okay, droplets, okay, they are also transmitted through the articles that were used by the infected person. Okay, the common articles like pens, sharing of pens, sharing of books, sharing of cups. Okay, doorknobs. Okay, we'll open the door. Okay, whatever. Okay, the same we are using, and a computer keyboard or mouse. Okay, that is the common articles that were used. Okay, through these articles also, the disease is spread from one person to another person. Okay, that is okay. These are the some of the viral diseases. And next, protozoan diseases. Okay, some of the human diseases are caused by protozoans too. Okay, not only bacteria and virus, the diseases are caused. Okay, there are some protozoans which will cause diseases in a human. Okay, some of the human diseases caused by are caused by protozoans too. And next, okay, you might have heard about malaria. Okay, the very important, okay, very commonly observed protozoan disease is malaria. Malaria, a disease man has been fighting since many years. Okay, we are fighting against because there is no proper treatment for this Till now, there is no proper treatment for this malaria. Okay, and what is responsible for this disease means a protozoan parasite called Plasmodium. Okay, Plasmodium, a tiny protozoan is responsible for this disease. Okay, Plasmodium. Okay, Plasmodium. The protozoan is a Plasmodium, which is responsible for this malaria disease. Okay, there are different species of Plasmodium, like Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, Plasmodium falciparum. Okay, Plasmodium ovale. Okay, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale, or these are the different species of Plasmodium which will cause malaria. All this will cause malaria, but a slightly variation in their infection are responsible for different types of malaria. Okay, there is a slight variation in their infection. That's why we'll observe different types of malaria, we say. So of this, the malignant malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum is the most serious one and can even be fatal. Okay, when you observe this Plasmodium falciparum, okay, this Plasmodium falciparum, okay, causes a type of malaria called malignant malaria. Okay, malaria called as a malignant malaria. Okay, and this is most dreadful of all the types of malaria, and even it causes death also. That's why we say fatal, because okay, this Plasmodium falciparum will affect the nerve cells of the brain. Okay, it invades to the brain and causes, that's why named as a malignant. Malignant means it will spread. Okay, it will spread to different parts of the body, mainly to nerve cells of the brain, and damages the nerve cells, which is leading to death. Okay. Okay, next, when you observe the life cycle, okay, let us take a glance at the life cycle of Plasmodium. Okay, that means a brief study about the life cycle of Plasmodium. Okay, when you observe the Plasmodium, okay, when you observe the Plasmodium is a digenetic parasite. Di means two. That means it completes its life cycle in two hosts. Okay, it will complete its life cycle in a two host. Okay, that's why the Plasmodium as a digenetic parasite. One is the primary host is mosquito, that is female Anopheles mosquito, and the secondary host is a human. Okay, the primary host is a female Anopheles mosquito, and the secondary host is a human. Why we are saying the female Anopheles mosquito as a primary host means because the Plasmodium undergoes a sexual reproduction in primary host. So okay, if any organism is having two hosts, the host in which the parasite undergoes a sexual reproduction, that host is called primary host, and the remaining other host, okay, we call that as a secondary host or intermediate host. So here, as the Plasmodium undergoes sexual reproduction in female Anopheles mosquito, So the female Anopheles mosquito is considered as the primary host. So how, okay, first we'll start with the parasite entering into the human body. When an infected female Anopheles mosquito bites a healthy person and sucks the blood, at that time, the Plasmodium parasite in the form called sporozoite stage, okay, in the stage or in the form called sporozoite stage, will enter into the human's blood. Okay, that's what we can see. Plasmodium enters the human body as sporozoite infectious form through the bite of infected female Anopheles mosquito. So when an infected female Anopheles mosquito bites, the infectious stage called sporozoite form will enter into the human body. Okay, the parasite initially multiplies within the liver cells. Okay, after entering into the blood, within half an hour, it will reaches to the liver and attacks the liver cells. Okay, enters into the liver cells and grows inside the liver cells. Okay, and multiply in number. So that is the parasite initially multiplies within the liver cells, and then after multiplying in large number in the liver cells, they rupture the liver cells, comes out of the liver cell and enters into the bloodstream, and they find, okay, and they enter in, and later they enter into the red blood cells. They attack the red blood cells. Okay, and in the red blood cells, okay, further they grow in our red blood cells, they multiply. After the multiplication in the red blood cells, okay, now they rupture the RBC and they are again released into the blood, the fluid of the blood. Okay, and next, while it is growing inside the red blood cells, okay, these parasites feed on the hemoglobin of the RBC. They feed on the hemoglobin of the RBC, and after feeding, they release their waste. These waste we call it as a hemojoin granules or hemojoin bodies. And these hemojoin bodies are also released along with the along with the parasite when the RBC cells are ruptured, which is responsible for the symptoms of the malaria. These hemojoin granules are the structures which are mainly responsible for the hemojoin, responsible for the symptoms of the malaria, are mainly responsible for the symptoms of malaria. That is what we can see here. So the parasites initially multiply within the liver cells and then attack the red blood cells. Okay, after growing in the red cells, later it ruptures the red blood cells and the rupture of RBC is associated with the release of a toxic substance, that is a hemojoin, which is responsible for the chill and high fever recurring every 3 to 4 days. So the life cycle is okay, that means the growing period of a parasite within the RBC is about 3 to 4 days. Okay, that is for every 3rd day or 4th day, depending upon the species. On the 3rd day or 4th day, okay, for every 3rd day or 4th day, the RBC are ruptured, and along with the RBC, this toxic substances, that is the hemojoin, is also released. And these hemojoin granules or toxic substances are mainly responsible for the symptoms of malaria, that is chills and high fever. So for every 3 or 4 days, symptoms are recurred. Okay, recurrently observed. Okay, so for every 3 or 4 days, so we can observe. Okay, the chills and fevers observed. Okay, the chills are like that. Even if you cover the person with 3 or 4 blankets also, the chills will not be gone, because these chills are not because of the change in the environment. It is because of the release of a toxic substance, that is a hemojoin, into the blood. It is internally developed, not from the external environment. So okay, that's why the chills will not be done. Okay, and before, okay, that means normally during a normal days, the temperature will be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But the time during the hemojoin granules are released, at that time the temperature of the body was increased to 104 to, okay, 104 degrees to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. That much high temperature is observed. Okay, that's why we say chills and fevers. High fever, we say these are the symptoms. Okay, that is. And next, how it enters into the mosquito. Okay, now we have discussed the, okay, from the mosquito it is entering into the human. Then how it enters into the mosquito. Okay, when a female Anopheles mosquito bites and sucks the blood of an infected person with malaria, that means a person suffering from malaria, when this female Anopheles mosquito bites that person who is suffering from malaria and sucks the blood, so as these malaria are present in the bloodstream, okay, as this malarial parasite is present in the bloodstream, okay, which are enclosed inside the RBC, they will be entered into the gut of or alimentary canal of a female Anopheles mosquito. That is what we can see here. So when a female Anopheles mosquito bites an infected person, these parasites enter the mosquito's body and undergo further development. Okay, there, okay, that means, okay, when an infected female Anopheles mosquito, sorry, when a female Anopheles mosquito bites an infected person who is suffering from malaria and sucks the blood, okay, what happens means the different stages of malaria which are present inside the RBC are entered. All the stages get it, okay, along with the RBC, the remaining other stages are get digested except the gametocytes. And these gametocytes further develop, and they develop into male and female gametes. Okay, the male gametocyte will develop into male gamete or will give rise to male gametes, and the female gametocyte develops into female gamete. Okay, only the gametocytes can resist the enzymes of the mosquito in the gut. Remaining all get digested and they are used. But the gametocytes are resistant to these enzymatic actions, and if they undergo further development and they give rise to gametes, the male gamete, male gametocyte to male gametes, and a female gametocyte to female gametes, and the fertilization occurs within the gut and results in the formation of zygote, and this zygote okay, will passes through the gut wall and enters the other surface, that is the outer surface, where it undergoes a further development and finally gives rise to large number of sporozoite. And these sporozoites, which are formed on the outer wall of gut, they into the blood of a mosquito, swim through the blood of mosquito, and finally reaches the salivary glands, and they get stored in the salivary glands, these sporozoites. And whenever this infected female Anopheles mosquito bites, first it releases saliva. Along with the saliva, this sporozoites, which we say the infectious stages, now enter into the human body. So like that, the sporozoites are formed and they are infected to the human through the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. That is what we can see here. Okay, but it is given in a single sentence. Okay. Okay, after entering into the mosquito's body, that is, they undergo further development, but they are said the parasites multiply within them to form sporozoites. That means all these stages will occur, and finally the sporozoites are produced and that are stored in the salivary glands. Actually, not in the salivary gland, okay, in the reservoir of salivary gland. Okay, salivary gland is divided into two parts, secretory part and reservoir part. Secretory part, okay, that is secretory part is involved in only secretion. Okay, after secretion, they are stored in a specialized structures called reservoirs, salivary reservoir. In that salivary reservoir, they will store. Because whenever the mosquito bites, the saliva is released from this reservoir, not directly from the salivary gland or secretory part. So first the reservoir, okay, the whatever the saliva that is present in the reservoir is released. So along with which is stored in the reservoir, that one will be released, because in that only the sporozoites are also present and get infected to the human. So, okay, stored in the salivary glands, and when these mosquitoes bite a human, the sporozoites are introduced into his or her body, thereby initiating the events mentioned above. And again the same cycle. Within a half an hour, after entering into the bloodstream, within a half an hour, they reach the liver cells, they attack the liver cells, multiply in the liver cells, and later they will rupture the liver cells, and they will the stages are released, and these stages now attack again the RBC. Again they release hemoglobin granules and causes the symptoms of malaria. Again the same, when when a mosquito bites an infected person, again they enter into mosquito, and again okay, there is. So here the human and mosquito are the two hosts. So the this malarial parasite requires two hosts to complete their life cycle. That is what we can see here. It is interesting to note that the malarial parasite requires two hosts, human and mosquitoes. Human and mosquitoes to complete its life cycle. The female Anopheles mosquito is the vector too. That means okay, the not only it is required for the development of the the malarial parasite. Okay, this malaria, the female Anopheles mosquito is also acting as a vector. Okay, that is only involved in the transmission of this malarial parasite from one host to another host, and also from to another human. That's why this female Anopheles mosquito is considered as a vector. Okay, here we can see the cycle ma. Okay, first we can see when a mosquito bites another human, sporozoites are injected with bite. And next from sporo, okay, they are entered into the blood and finally they reach the liver through blood. Okay, liver cells, they multiply. Okay, and they multiply by asexual, that is by multiple fission, called as a schizogony. Okay, the multiple fission in a malarial parasite we call it as schizogony. So the parasite reproduces asexually, liver cells burst the cells and release into the blood. After releasing into the blood, again they attack the new, okay, RBC. Parasite reproduce asexually in red blood cells, bursting the red blood cells and causing the cycles of fever and other symptoms. Released parasite infect new red blood cells. So continuously this process is done. Continuously the RBC, okay, continuously RBC cells are attacked by this parasite. Okay, they enter into the RBC, multiplies in number, they rupture the RBC, comes out, and again they attack the fresh RBC. Thus they multiply in number. Okay, and next after reaching to a certain number, okay, some of the parasites that entered into the RBC, instead of continuing the asexual cycle, okay, they are transformed into sexual phases, that is called gametocytes. Okay, they are transformed into microgametocytes and macrogametocytes. Microgametocyte means which will give rise to male gamete, and macrogametocyte means which will give rise to female gamete. But okay, only up to gametocyte stage only they are formed. Okay, further development of this gametocyte into okay, gametocyte into organism, or okay, into gamete will not occur within the human body. It will occur only in the gut wall of, or in the gut of female Anopheles mosquito, because the conditions are favoring. Okay, the pH, temperature, all they are favoring this gametocytes to develop into gametes. Okay, that means whenever the female Anopheles mosquito bite and sucks the blood of an infected person, all the different stages of RBC, the okay, normal stages, growing stages, okay, and all that, the gametocyte stages are with the RBC are entered into the gut of mosquito. But only the gametocytes only resist, remaining all are digested. And later the gametocytes develop into gametes, and these gametes undergo fertilization within the gut, and later they develop into sporozoites, and these sporozoites which are developed will migrate towards the salivary glands, and they are stored in the salivary glands. Okay, whenever the mosquito bites and releases saliva, okay, why they release saliva means because the saliva consists of an enzyme called hemolysin, which prevents the clotting of blood, so that the mosquito can suck the blood continuously, because after a certain period of time the blood will clot. So to prevent the clotting of blood, this hemolysin which is present in the saliva, so they release saliva. Once they bite, they release saliva. Along with saliva, this malarial parasite, the sporozoid stage will be entered into our body, and again starts the cycle. Okay, that is about this Plasmodium life cycle. So there are different species of Plasmodium. That is Plasmodium malaria, okay, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, okay, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum. Among this, which is more dreadful? Plasmodium falciparum, and it is fatal because it mostly affects the nerve cells of the brain, because that's why we called it as a malignant malaria, because it easily spreads from blood to different parts of the body. Okay, and next, when the symptoms for malaria are observed means after the multiplication in the RBC, okay, when the RBC cells are ruptured and releasing the malarial parasite outside, along with that some toxic substances are, which we call that as a hemojoin. Okay, this hemojoin is mainly responsible for the symptoms of malaria. What are the symptoms for malaria means? Chills and high fever. And these chills and high fever are not present continuously. They are observed for every 3 to 4 days or 3 or 4 days. Okay, because the time taken for the each cycle of RBC is about 3 or 4 days from one species to another species. So for after every cycle, we can observe this symptoms. Okay, that is. Anybody is having any doubt regarding this Plasmodium malarial parasite? Okay, this is very, very important. It has got, okay, it is the question which can be asked for 5 marks. The life cycle of a Plasmodium, or the life cycle of a malarial parasite. Okay, or sometimes in 3 marks they may ask, okay, the life, okay, sexual cycle, like that. So this topic, okay, this concept of a Plasmodium, the protozoan parasite, that is Plasmodium, which causes malaria, is very, very important. Be thorough with this. Okay.